Good afternoon, students. Today I am back with my next topic, Kingdom Fungi. So, today our topic is Kingdom Fungi. Just by hearing fungi, what do we remember? What do we remember? It's yeast, and yeast is used for bread making. Okay, so fungi can be both useful and pathogenous. Okay, fungi can be both useful and pathogenous. So yeast is one among the useful fungi. Penicillium is another useful fungi because from there we get our lifesaver antibiotic penicillin. But Puccinia is another fungus which is pathogenous and it causes the wheat rust disease. It causes wheat rust disease. Puccinia. Okay. So now we are going to study about structure of a typical fungi. Structure of a typical fungi. Fungi can be divided into several classes and each has their own typical features, but this is a culmination of all the features of different classes, and this is just a schematic representation of a typical structure of a fungi. So, what is this? Another term we remember just after we hear fungi is hyphae. So, this is the hyphae. This is the hyphae. Later I am coming to the details. This is the hyphae and these are the rhizoids. These are the rhizoids. And all together this network of hyphae and rhizoids are known as mycelium. The complete network of hyphae and rhizoids are known as mycelium. Now, in few classes of fungus, there are special types of hyphae. There are special types of hyphae. What is that? They are named as sporangiophore. They are named as sporangiophore. Later on, you will understand why I am writing it here again. So, sporangiophores are nothing but special type of hyphae. Now let us understand why they are known as sporangiophore. Because they hold the fruiting body, that is sporangium. They hold a special type of fruiting body known as sporangium. Okay. So there is a special type of hyphae known as sporangiophore which holds a special type of fruiting body which is sporangium, and sporangium bears the sporangiospores. Sporangium bears the sporangiospores. These are basically the spores of fungi used for asexual reproduction. These are spores of fungi used for asexual reproduction. So again, let us repeat. This is hyphae. These are rhizoids. Together, this network forms the mycelium. There is a special type of hyphae known as sporangiophore. Sporangiophore bears sporangium and sporangium bears sporangiospores, which are basically used in asexual reproduction of fungi. Okay, till now it is clear. Now let us come to The next point, which I think you must be curious that what ma'am has written here, synophytic hyphae. What is that? These are continuous tubes. These are continuous tubes with multinucleated cytoplasm. With multinucleated cytoplasm. Okay. So there is another, and here we can see the multiple nuclei. Here we can see the multiple nuclei. So this is one type of hyphae. This is one type of hyphae. Another type of hyphae is septate hyphae. Another type of hyphae is septate hyphae, which we can find here. These are the septums. These are the septums. And within each division, there is one nucleus. Here, there is no such division. Okay, here there is no such division. This is a continuous tube. But here there are divisions known as septum. Here there are divisions known as septum. So these are the two types of hyphae that might be present in fungi. And the cell wall is composed of chitin and polysaccharide. Generally, the cell wall is composed of chitin and polysaccharide. So fungi are mostly heterotrophic. That is, they depend on others for food. Okay, fungi are mostly heterotrophic. Now, according to their feeding pattern, this heterotrophic fungi can be divided into following types. Okay, based on the feeding pattern, heterotrophic fungi can be divided into following types. Type number 1 is saprophyte. Type number 1 is saprophyte. That is, they feed on dead matter. Saprophytes feed on dead matter. What are parasites? Parasites depend on living plants and animals. Parasites depend on living plant and animals. And what are symbionts? Symbionts are present in association with other plants, animals. What is the difference now between parasite and symbionts is that in parasite, fungi will only take the favor. Okay. In case of parasites, fungi will only take the favor. But in case of symbionts, there is a give and take relationship. In case of symbionts, there is a give and take relationship. So they can stay in the form of lichens or in the roots of higher plants as mycorrhiza. Okay. So they can either stay as lichens or as mycorrhiza in its symbiotic form. Now we will be focusing on reproduction of fungi. Now we'll be focusing on reproduction of fungi. So which are the types of reproduction found here predominantly? One is vegetative. Vegetative occurs by fragmentation. Vegetative occurs by fragmentation. How? Like, for example, this is a hyphae. It will simply get cut into two parts and we will get one complete hyphae from one and another complete hyphae from the other part. So from one we are getting 1 plus 1, 2. So from 1 we are getting 1 plus 1, 2. This is fragmentation. This is fragmentation. What is the other way for reproduction? It is asexual reproduction. It is asexual reproduction. This happens through conidia, sporangiospore, or zoospore. Asexual reproduction happens through conidia, sporangiospore, or zoospore. Now, what are the ways of sexual reproduction? What are the ways of sexual reproduction? It happens through oospores, ascospores, or basidiospores. These happens through oospores, ascospores, and basidiospores. Okay, so sexual reproduction is basically a characteristic of Ascomycetes and Basidiomycetes. Now, what are Ascomycetes and Basidiomycetes? That I'll come later. Like I told in the initial part of the lecture, that fungi are differentiated into four classes. So among those four classes, two of them are Ascomycetes and Basidiomycetes, which follow this sexual type of reproduction. So there is a catch in the sexual reproduction in fungi. It actually can happen in two ways. So which we are going to learn now. First, here are two haploid type compatible hyphae. Here, two haploid type compatible hyphae. Obviously, without compatibility, there will be no reproduction. So, these are two haploid compatible hyphae. Now, what they can give rise to? What they can give rise to when they are fused? First is they can give rise to direct diploid cells. First is they can give rise to direct diploid cells. Okay. The other one is, that is, which is formed in Ascomycetes or Basidiomycetes. What forms? First, a dikaryotic stage cell is formed. A dikaryotic stage cell is formed, which has basically two nuclei, n plus n. We cannot call it 2n because nucleus is not fused, because nucleus is not fused. So we cannot call it a diploid cell or a diploid nuclei. We can call it a dikaryotic staged cell where nuclei are present like separately but n plus n form. But in n plus n form. Okay. So here there is one cell within which there are two nuclei in their haploid stage. Okay. So this is the stage that I was talking of. This is the dikaryotic stage. And this condition is known as dikaryon, and this phase is known as dikaryophase. Okay. So this thing is known as dikaryotic stage cell. This condition is known as dikaryon, and this phase is known as dikaryophase. Now here at this stage, the nuclei undergoes fusion. Here at this stage, the nuclei undergoes fusion and they form diploid cells. Okay. So after this, these diploid cells or diploid hyphae again gives rise to several other fruiting bodies. Fruiting bodies now will have haploid spores. Now these haploid spores will again give rise to haploid hyphae, and these hyphae will again fuse together to run the cycle. Okay. So let us repeat from this stage once again. So this is the dikaryotic stage. From here we get diploid stage. In the diploid stage, what happens? Karyogamy. In diploid stage, what happens? Karyogamy. From here, they give rise to diploid hyphae, which again gives rise to haploid spores. Then again we will get haploid hyphae, which will again fuse together to give either diploid cells or dikaryotic stage cells. Okay, so this is basically the overall steps in sexual reproduction. Now we will be coming to classification of fungi into different classes. What are the four classes of fungi? Ficomycetes, Ascomycetes, Basidiomycetes, and Deuteromycitis. So do you remember where did I speak about Ascomycetes and Basidiomycetes? Yes, it is in case of sexual reproduction. So now we are going to study about the different characteristics of different classes of fungi. Number one is Ficomycetes. It has aquatic habitat. It also grows on decaying wood. It is obligate parasite on plants. Like I was telling, it will only get advantage. Okay. So these are the mostly in three ways Ficomycetes can exist. So these are the most prevalent three ways in which Ficomycetes exist. Okay. Now comes Ascomycetes. It grows on dung, like cow dung or buffalo dung. And they are known as coprophilous. Then they are known as coprophilous. They can also be parasitic, saprophytic, and decomposers. Okay, Ascomycetes can also be parasitic, saprophytic, decomposers, but their one of the characteristics is that it can grow on dungs. Okay. Now let us come to Basidiomycetes. It can grow on soil, on logs like tree logs, tree trunk, and also inside living plant body as parasite. Okay, clear? Now, in case of Deuteromycitis, it is not very clear that where it can grow and other things. So, mostly it is independent growing and moist soil, tree trunk. These are the common things for fungi, but it is not very much distinct that where Deuteromycitis are grown generally. So, next we are coming to the topic of Cynocytic aseptate mycelium. So cynocytic aseptate mycelium is present in Ficomycetes. Cynocytic aseptate mycelium is present in Ficomycetes, whereas in Ascomycetes, branched septate, Basidiomycetes, branched septate, and also Deuteromycetes, branched septate. So if a question comes, where do we find cynocytic aseptate mycelium? Answer is only Ficomycetes. In rest all the other classes, it is branched and septate. Okay, and Deuteromycetes also can remain as saprophyte, parasite, decomposer, and decomposer of litter, that is urine. It is a very helpful organism in mineral recycling because it is a decomposer of litters. Okay. Now let us come to the reproduction pattern. Ficomycetes is mostly practicing asexual reproduction. Although it has zoospore, which is the motile asexual spore, and aplanospore, which is the non-motile asexual spore. Okay, so it mostly practices asexual reproduction through zoospore, which is the motile spore, and aplanospore, which is the non-motile spore. It forms zygospore by fusion of two gametes. It forms zygospore by fusion of two gametes. So what is zygospore? Zygospore is basically formed from fusion of two gametes. Now, in case of gametes, it can produce two types of gametes. Isogamous, which are similar types of gametes, and dissimilar gametes are known as anisogamous. So let us repeat this once again. Phycomycetes mostly practices asexual reproduction. Asexual reproduction through what? Through two types of spores. Zoospore, which is motile, aplanospore, which is non-motile. Okay. Now, it can form zygospore after fusing the haploid gametes. Okay. Now, gametes are also two types in case of Phycomycetes. Similar gametes, which are known as isogamous, and dissimilar gametes, which are known as anisogamous. And its example is mucor. Mucor we can see on trees and everything. It is mostly this kind of a structure. We can see it a lot, mucor. Okay. So now we will be coming to our next class, that is Ascomycetes. Now we will be coming to our next class, that is Ascomycetes. Here we can see the sexual reproduction. Remember in the last topic I was telling you that in Ascomycetes and Basidiomycetes we find sexual reproduction. So here there is formation of sexual spore, that is ascospores, which are present in sac-like structure, that is asci. These are present in specialized sac-like structure called asci. What are present in asci? The ascospores. Ascospores are basically the sexual spores. And what is ascocarp? What is ascocarp? It is the fruiting body in which asci is present. Ascocarp is the fruiting body in which asci is present. Okay, so let us repeat the sexual spore thing once again. What are the sexual spores? Ascospores. Where do we find ascospores? In sac-like structure, asci. And where asci is found? In ascocarp, that is the fruiting body. And ascospores are produced endogenously. Ascospores are produced endogenously. And this also possesses conidiophore, that is the special type of hyphae I was telling. It has the conidiophore, and conidiophore bears the asexual spores. Okay, conidiophores bear the asexual spores. Okay, so now we will be coming to Basidiomycetes. Basidiomycetes practices a very different kind of reproduction, that is by fragmentation. Okay, so here there is a very interesting fact that it practices two pole opposite types of reproduction. One is fragmentation, which is very basic and vegetative, and another is sexual. Okay, here the sexual reproduction happens by formation of dikaryon. Dikaryotic cells are produced, which are known as basidium. Okay, dikaryotic cells are produced, which are known as basidium. Basidium produces basidiospores, and basidiospores are arranged in basidiocarp. Basidiocarp is the fruiting body of Basidium. Basidiomycetes. Basidiocarp is the fruiting body of Basidiomycetes. Okay, so let us now go through once again. It practices vegetative reproduction or sexual reproduction. In sexual reproduction, it generally forms vegetative cells known as dikaryon. Then dikaryotic cells produces basidium. Basidium produces basidiospores. And where are basidiospores present? In basidiocarps. Where are basidiospores present? In basidiocarps. And now we will be coming to the last one, that is the Deuteromycitis. In case of Deuteromycitis, only asexual and vegetative phase of reproduction is known. Unfortunately, in case of Deuteromycitis, only asexual and vegetative phase of reproduction is known. Whenever we come to know about sexual reproduction or through ascospores, like through basidiospores, like that, about any member of Deuteromycetes, somehow its characteristics are generally they get matched with the Ascomycetes and Basidiomycetes, so they are transferred to that class and they are moved out from Deuteromycetes. So currently only asexual and vegetative phase of reproduction are known in case of Deuteromycetes, because whenever we come to know about any kind of sexual reproduction in Deuteromycetes, somehow its other characteristics gets matched so much with Ascomycetes or Basidiomycetes. Generally they are pulled out of Deuteromycetes and placed into those. So typical example of Deuteromycetes is Trichoderma and Alternaria. So here we are going to end our today's topic, that is fungi. Our next topic is kingdom plantae, and please let me know which type of teaching would you like first, would you like me to go to kingdom plantae or end with the MCQ and everything of these three topics, that is Monera, Protista and fungi, and then I should go to kingdom plantae? Please let me know in the comment section that what would you prefer. Anyways, I am open to go through any type of lecture, like if you want MCQ, otherwise I will directly go to kingdom plantae, and only after this classification is done I'll be coming up with MCQ of all the several topics like Monera, Protista, fungi, plantae and animalium, so that also can be done. So please do let me know in the comment section whether you are liking the video, whether you would like to hear something more or some different chapters. Please do let me know, and thank you.